Hi, this is Andy Cullen and Chris Pomeroy of Growing Up Aspen, and we started to interview a bunch of our friends and found out that we had a bunch of schoolmates that ended up in the entertainment world. So we have to start a new chat podcast called Movie Chat. And today we are here with Fenell Doremus, who got her start into the documentary world with films like Hoop Dreams. So here we are with Fenell Doremus. Name some films that you think are important markers for in film.
Would they be film or
Oh,
documentary,
Could be
Andy?
documentaries, could be film. I mean, it's
yeah. I'm going to say documentaries because I'm not a real film,
that's fine.
believe it or not. Real markers. I mean, this is not just because I played a part in it, but Hoop Dreams was a major
Yeah,
marker.
that was a really great film.
But not just because, well, I mean it was like the highest grossing documentary of its time when it was released theatrically, which was so amazing.
Well, it's like you're rooting for the two kids and the whole thing,
Yeah,
and then you see one and this and that, the struggles and all the stuff. So you really get a feel for it, which is kind of what documentary is. It takes you
yeah,
into a thing.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's that human story that you're like sucked into their lives and you're rooting for them and their families. And it's really about like racism and the sports industry, right? But that's subtle. That's not like you're not being hit over the head with it. So you're getting that, but not in a didactic kind of way.
Well, Telluride, we get Errol Morris shows a lot. He shows a lot of his stuff, and so we get a glimpse before everybody else, which is
Hmm.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog too. He's there a lot, isn't
Yeah,
he?
Werner Herzog's there a lot, but usually he'll bring his documentaries. But then even like, what was the film that he did, Fitzcarraldo? It was a movie, but it felt almost like a documentary, even though you were
Mhm.
watching the characters, because it was sort of a true story, I believe, and it was so epic that it
Yeah.
almost felt more like a story documentary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's interesting the way he sort of sorry, wait, was that Errol Morris? I haven't seen it, or is that
No, no,
Werner?
Werner
Oh, it
Herzog.
is. Okay. Yeah, I mean they're both in like a kind of a camp. I mean, I'd say Werner Herzog's camp is so much about like him as being kind of a personality in his films,
Yeah,
same
yeah,
way as like Michael Moore.
yeah.
Errol Morris is just he's very, I mean, so I would say The Thin Blue Line was kind of a monumental film that changed
Yeah.
a lot of things because it was like, oh, films really can make change, you know.
Hmm.
This really like affected people's lives. Um, but yeah, they're both really interesting filmmakers. I mean, I don't aspire necessarily to make films like either of those guys. I think they're very interesting filmmakers, but um I know that like those three people on the panel that you mentioned, or the four,
Yeah.
they're all sort of like the most well-known
Yeah. But it
makers.
was interesting, as well known as they are, to have them point out how different documentary is. Because everybody thinks
Yeah,
documentary is just documentary, and it's like,
yeah,
well, there's a huge range in documentary, and that was, Annette Insdorf was the sort of instigator. She's always the one that deals with the chats that everybody's doing, Q and A's
yeah,
and all that stuff. And it's interesting because she's such a wealth of filmmaking that it's interesting to hear her pull all that stuff out of people.
yeah. Interesting. I
And
would say one more film that I think is pretty influential, or maybe not even film, but the filmmakers, the Maysles brothers, who have both passed away. They're very interesting. Also along the lines of Frederick Wiseman, who I mentioned to you, like it's kind of called cinema verite filmmaking. It's not a proper use of the term, but that's a whole
what's
scholarly argument we don't have to get into. But
what's one of his films that you comes to mind?
Salesman is a great film. Also, Grey Gardens, which was
Okay.
turned into a play, and there's been like a remake, and so that one you've probably heard of. Uh, Monterey Pop Festival, they did a film about that. I can't remember if it's called Monterey Pop Festival or not, but they were really like great filmmakers and great little slices of history at this point, those films.
Yeah, I
Are
saw
there
these.
any new and up and coming folks that you're admiring?
God, there's so many new and up and coming folks that I admire. Where do I even begin? Yeah, everybody who's in my producing class right now.
Hi, this is Growing Up Aspen. Glad you enjoyed that last little blast, and I hope you stick around for a few more. We want to, the authors of Growing Up Aspen, Adventures of the Unsupervised, would like to thank you and ask you to, if you're interested, you can check out our book at twistandturnpress.com, or any local bookstore can order our book. So we will talk to you soon and hear more from some of our friends. Thanks.